Hey friends, welcome back. It's Squinty. In case we're meeting for the first time, I'm Squinty. I am a social media producer and artist. Anyways, welcome along. Today's video is going to encompass 5 minutes or so of my most recent drawing that I'm still drawing in progress here, accompanied by some chats about life and, well, goal setting. And specifically goal setting in the perspective of not being able to set long-term goals very well. And this is one of the things that I've struggled with as long as I can remember. Even when I was in kindergarten, one of the big things I worried about was, how am I going to get through this many years of math? I see first graders doing multiplication, or I don't know what it was, but I think it was multiplication, and thinking to myself, oh my goodness, I'm going to do this next year and I'm not going to understand it. I'm going to thinking, if first grade is this hard, how hard is it going to be in 12th grade? How am I going to survive this all? You know, chronic worrier. I think the issue stems from the fact that in school you are taught to set goals in 3 different ways. And that is short-term, medium-term, and long-term goals. But usually the problem is when you talk about short-term goals, it's about things that are immediately in front of you. It is about going home, doing your laundry. Medium-term is usually more into the next year or so, where it's like, well, I want to make the cross-country team, or make varsity in cross-country. And then long-term is more about future career goals, like what do you want to be when you grow up? Where do you want to go to college? Essentially, for how much learning we do about planning and goal setting, we don't actually talk about the steps that go into accomplishing those goals. Short-term is easy. You go home, you don't get distracted by your video games, you do your laundry, and then you do something else, whatever. Medium term is a little more difficult, but it's within that approachable range where if it's about making the cross-country team, yeah, you just go to practice every day, you do your best, and, you know, if coach recommends you, you make it, and it's awesome. I never made it, but, you know, I live vicariously. But then there's the issue of the long term. When it comes to things like college or future careers, it's always hard to pre-plan something so far ahead when there's so many variables at work. And this is kind of a personal part of myself, is that I always dreamt of becoming a pilot. And that was a dream I've had since about 5th grade. I was really involved in learning about airplanes and going to museums, learning more. Basically a spec racer in the aviation realm. And I loved it. That was a career that really drew my attention, and that's what I really wanted to be. So for the past 7, 8 years, that's the target I've been fixating on. That's the goal I've been fixating on. I guess what a lot of those aviation experts and I guess online pundits, whatever, like to say is that you have to be someone who is relatively academically strong. So get good grades, do well in school. But the problem with that was that I became so fixated on the fact that I needed to get good grades to become a pilot. I needed to get into a college that had a flight program, and to get into that flight program, I would have to get good grades. And so for me, getting good grades was synonymous with becoming a pilot. It doesn't necessarily have to be that way. But of course, being me, the chronic worrier, and the person who gets overwhelmed very easily by first grade math, I became very committed to doing well in school and forgetting all about the aviation part. So when I got to college application season, which was just last year, one of the things that I ran into was, as I was applying there, it kind of dawned on me that I had become so frustratingly fixated on this idea that I needed to get good grades that, yeah, I had a 4.0 GPA and a semi-decent SAT score, but I didn't have anything in the aviation realm to back myself up and say, I'm an ideal candidate for your program. And in this competitive environment, especially post-pandemic, basically sent me rejection letters and said, you're just not the right fit for us at this time, and we can't take you because we don't have enough capacity to take those sorts of risks. But if there's anything I'd like you to take away from this, it's not that I complain a lot. It is that I've gone through things that I never imagined I would be going through. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. There are experiences that you have to develop yourself as a person, and there's a lot to be learned in this wonderful big world of cruel irony and failures. The big thing is, always make sure to reevaluate your goals as you move forward. Always make sure that even those big long-term goals are something that you really truly want every, week, every month, every year. Just because they're shiny big objects that you can fixate on and say, I'm gonna be this massive thing, and I'm working towards it, doesn't mean you're always taking the right steps towards it, doesn't mean you're always making the wrong steps towards it. I should have reevaluated those things more frequently. I should have kept that passion ignited in myself to the point where I was more involved with aviation and those sorts of associated topics. But you know what? We all gotta find a way out of here somehow. Actually, we all gotta find our way in here somehow. So with that, I'd like to wish you all a very good night. Hopefully things are going well for you guys. In case you have any, comments or questions, or Alec, you complain too much, you just stick to the drawing, whatever, leave them in the comments. I will always reply to those as long as I can. So I will see you again next week. probably around the same time, in the dead of night, talking about a different topic. Hopefully something more positive and about editing, but, you know, we all got to start somewhere. With that, thank you very much, take care, and we will see you next time.